Hi, and welcome to part 2 of my little piece. What I then actually spoke about at the event was that obviously that previous poem is very, very intense, and there's quite a lot of negativity around it. But I deliberately read that because I want people to feel the negativity, and I want you to feel uncomfortable, actually, because this is the issue that we're facing with HIV, is there is quite a stigma attached to it, and there's a lot of misconceptions. One of them being that people seem to believe that once you have HIV, you're soon going to die. There's no treatment for it, and you can't live a normal life, which is completely not true. Also, some people believe that HIV is the same as AIDS, which is also not true. HIV is what you're diagnosed with in the first stages. It takes many, many years for HIV to actually develop into AIDS. So again, that's another misconception. And people seem to believe that it doesn't affect them, or it's nothing to do with them, or it's only to do with minorities, which again isn't true, because if you actually look at the figures of how many people have been diagnosed with HIV, there is a lot more than what you think, and it's not just based in one country or one place, it's all over the world, actually, and it's a global issue. I believe that we need to remove the stigma, and it's not about putting the problem onto the people that have got HIV. It's about the people that do not have this, changing their opinions and their perceptions, and actually making life a little bit easier and more human for these people that have been diagnosed with it. So what I then did was I actually asked people within the audience how they would change the story of the first poem. If you were a family member or a friend of that person that was in the poem, or even the nurse in the hospital, how would you change this story? How could you make things better? How could you make them more educated so that they didn't put off getting tested for so long, so that maybe their treatment in the hospital was better? That's something for you to think about. But after that poem, I had a much more positive one because I wanted to change the story, and that poem is called Breathing, and here it goes. When I was a child, the world was fresh and new. The smell of leaves and the soil beneath my feet, when everything seemed mild and soothed, or at least it seemed. Those innocent blue eyes awakened to this earth wider and wider. Funny how one coincidence and the twinkle in my dad's eyes put together the fibres of love, of life, of pain. The three are one in the same. So here's the game. We play on and on and on and on until we get sick of it. And the characters we choose no longer seem to stick, and the walls come down and the masks come off. And suddenly it all makes sense. I'm back to where I was back then. That wide-eyed baby with no shame or guilt, who is just me, for the sake of being me. Back to feeling the soil beneath my feet, the sun on my skin, and the ice on my pores, because with every struggle there is a reason to pause. Breathe.